The Dallas Cowboys are number 1 in points scored per game this year and number 5 in points allowed. But the Green Bay Packers are top 10 in points allowed and top 12 in points scored per game, and these two teams will face off Wildcard weekend. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com. We're going to break down the Packers going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. I'm looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, and right now the Cowboys are hanging on to a 7.5-point favorite edge. That half point is very key. And the over-under is hovering around 50.5. That looks to be pretty steady. So clearly, you got to shop around for the lines. If you're a fan of you want the Packers, the points, make sure you get that 7.5. If you want to take the Cowboys, try and shop around and see if you can buy a point if it works out mathematically, but try and get that down to 7. So let's break it down. And while I'm breaking down this, if you guys could please just hit the like button, leave me a comment, tell me what your best bet is. Really curious to see where everyone's landing at on this game. I think there's a lot of ways you could go about it. Great game for player props as well. You guys know I love those. But just hit the like button, leave me a comment, tell me what you like, and I've got a promo code coming up a little bit later. So there are a couple things that concern me about the Dallas Cowboys, and when I look at their games and I look at the games that they lost or that were really close, there's a couple themes that come out. And the first is the teams that were able to beat them or keep it close. So we're looking at Arizona, San Francisco, the Eagles, the Dolphins, and the Bills. Those were teams that were able to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And then you got Detroit that played them in that crazy 1-point game. And then Philly, really, they lost to them in the first game, but then really manhandled them in the second one. So I'm looking at those games, and the two things that I've noticed are those teams, they either put a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott, made him uncomfortable, and his passing total really suffered, or they were able to run the ball. And I don't think Green Bay, at first, I thought, Green Bay not really good, pressuring the quarterback. But they actually are a pretty decent team at pressuring the quarterback. Pro Football Focus has their pass rush defense ranked 13th. So they're above average in that, and they can get pressure on the quarterback. They're in the top 12 for PFF grades, and they're also in the top 12 for quarterback pressure. So that really surprised me, and they may have a little bit of success getting to Dak Prescott and making him a little bit uncomfortable. You look at those games, against Detroit, Dak had 345 yards passing, but the Lions were able to run the ball quite a bit. You look at that Dolphins game, Prescott, only 253 yards passing. Buffalo, Prescott, only 134 passing, and Buffalo ran the ball a ton, 49 carries in that game. Against Philadelphia, Prescott had 374 yards passing, but again, Philly able to run the ball a little bit, over 100 yards, 33 attempts. So can Green Bay do this to keep the game close? I think they can run the ball, which is why I'm going to take Green Bay plus 7.5. It's that half point that's really the difference maker. If it's 7, I'm on the fence. If it's 6.5, I probably lay off. The emergence of Aaron Jones towards the end of the season is really interesting. Kind of under the radar. Aaron Jones has had 3 straight 100-yard games. And even though he was hurt during the middle of the season, actually most of the season, you could be looking at maybe the freshest running back in the playoffs. This is a guy that rushed for 127 yards against Carolina and 120 yards against Minnesota. And you say, okay, not great opponents, but those are on the road. I loved his 111 yards against Chicago. I like that Chicago Bears defense. I think they were really improved in the last half of the season. So I don't think it should be going noticed that Aaron Jones looks fresh. And this Green Bay Packers team, if you want to beat the Cowboys at home, you're going to have to keep that offense off the field. And I think they can do that with the running game. Run the play clock down, give the ball to Aaron Jones a lot, and let all those wide receivers make some plays. On the defensive side, the big Achilles heel for the Green Bay Packers is their rush defense. They're not very good. Dallas's running game has been terrible this year. Tony Pollard's been a disaster. I almost think that Rico Dowdle might be the best running back in that backfield. So the strength of the Cowboys is obviously they're going to be their passing game. And I don't know if they're going to be able to exploit the weakness, which is that Green Bay Packers rush defense. So when I'm looking at Green Bay on offense, I think they're going to have success running the ball. Dallas is allowed over 112 yards rushing per game this year. So they're not a juggernaut against the run. And on offense, Dallas, they're going to be able to throw the ball, but can they really take advantage of that bad Packers rush defense? Maybe. but I just like getting this half point over 7. So I look for Green Bay to be able to keep up with Dallas. I also think that this could be way closer than it could be. And if the Packers keep this close, we've seen Mike McCarthy and we've seen Dak Prescott melt in big pressure situations. So if it comes down to a close game, I love being able to sit on this 7.5 points. So Packers plus 7.5 is going to be my official play. I mentioned a promo code, 30 days, and you get $100 off if you use the promo code LANG30. That's LANG30. Why is this important? The Australian Open is coming up. We've been number one in tennis since joining Wager Talk. We love playing the majors. We've only had one losing major since we've joined Wager Talk, and the Australian Open is our best tennis major. You're also going to get all of our NFL plays, including 5% plays. We have one of those up for this weekend. We're number one the last 2 seasons in NFL 5% plays. We ended the year on a 41-21 run in the NFL. We're on a 13-3 NHL run. So you want to lock in 30 days of these plays. Use the promo code LANG30. We're already up 21 units in 2024, and we're looking to add more. So let's go ahead and lock in the Green Bay Packers plus 7.5. Use that promo code LANG30. Gets $100 off a 30-day pass. Andy Lang at wagertalk.com. Good luck on all your plays. We'll see you over next video.